So as we lean into the book of Colossians, we learn that Paul was really concerned for the church in Colossae that they wouldn't get distracted by legalism and the law, by Greek myths, or by hyper-charismatic ideas. So what he wants to do is really try and centralize their thoughts around Christ, and in chapter 1 he does that in an amazing way. The first half of chapter 1 is Paul's introduction, his thanks, his gratitude, his greetings, and his prayers. And his prayer for the church of Colossae really gives us insight into his heart of what he wants to happen. He wants his prayers to be answered in their lives. So what is it he's praying for? Well, I don't want to be reductionist with the text, but when you distill the first half of the whole chapter right down, you are given 4 things that Paul is praying for. And the 4 things are knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and power. Right? Knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and power. So we'll have a quick look at these. Knowledge is the word epignosis. So what he's asking for is not just a general awareness of something or a good appreciation of something. What he's asking for is a deep, internal, transformed understanding. It is the interior of our lives that are being shaped by, transformed by the work of the Spirit as we know God. It has to do with virtue and goodness and the knowledge that is like an interior comfort. It takes the shape of who we are. So this word knowledge really is a deeply interior word. It's not just a scientific word of understanding some things. It's being shaped by the very Spirit of God towards virtue and truth. Next we come to wisdom, and wisdom's actually a really interesting concept in the Scripture in the New Testament. The word for wisdom is Sophia. So it has instantly a feminine posture to it. And in the ancient Greek world, Sophia was the goddess of wisdom. There was this sense of that the feminine virtues of God are manifest, personified in Sophia. This perhaps comes through most clearly in the scriptures in Proverbs chapter 8. But Paul uses the word strategically here to really teach us about this wisdom which is from God, the personification of God's life ministered to us, that we would have spiritual wisdom. And it is wisdom not just about the world, it's actually wisdom of another kind. It's from above, it's heavenly, it's spiritual, it's supernatural. It's wisdom that we can't conjure up. It's something that we have to receive. And so Paul uses that word very specifically here. He then goes on to say that we would have understanding. And this is a great word. It's the word for the ability to be a critical thinker, to analyze, to dissect, to discern, that we would have understanding. It's like we would have X-ray vision into the world and into truth and into circumstance, so that we can see what it truly is and see the activity of God or otherwise. So Paul really wants our lives to be shaped and receptive to the Spirit, bringing us this deep knowledge of virtue, bringing us heavenly supernatural understanding, bringing us a critical thinking mind to be able to dissect what it is that we're seeing. And then finally he asks that we would have power. And the word power is from dynamis, so there's the sense of dynamite, the forthright strength of God. It's not really power as in fireworks and something explosive. It's actually power to persevere, power to endure, power to be long-suffering and to stand your ground. So there's this interior resolve, this strength that we have. And I think that the church today, and perhaps even the church in other parts of the world in particular, thinking of Ukraine at this time, they need this power and this resolve and this wisdom and this strength and this knowledge more than ever, really. And so we can pray for this for ourselves, pray for this for our brothers and sisters in difficult places around the world, that the church of Colossae would be for us, as it were, a blueprint of our spiritual lives, that we would lean more deeply into the purposes of God in our generation, in our location, and further afield. And the outcome that Paul wants to see is that we bear fruit, that we flourish, that something beautiful comes out of our lives, out of the church, out of our community and our families. So there's this sense of growth and vitality, that we are bearing fruit even in difficult circumstances. So receive these things, ponder them, and until next time, peace.